and welcome to Easy Holiday Ornaments. I'm glad to see you here. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some simple ways to decorate these chipboard craft store ornaments. Chipboard is a heavyweight layered cardboard. Here you see a 2-pack of snowflake ornaments, and I also found this 8-pack of gift tags. And I have another tutorial on this channel demonstrating some ways to create gift tags. But for this one, I'm going to be focusing on ornaments. And I have this, I'm going to be using the snowflake, and I'm also going to be using a star that I don't have in the raw state because I made them prior to doing this video. So I will show you how I finished the 3-dimensional stars. I know I got the stars at Michael's. You'll also need some gesso. This is Liquitex brand, but any brand will do. Gesso goes out like a creamy white paint. I use a foam brush to apply it, and this puts a nice smooth white layer on your pieces so they're easier to paint. When you get ready to do your gesso, you can leave the little string tags on them. That won't be in the way. You do want to paint the top, the bottom, all the sides, and even the edges. Just take your foam brush and give it a quick coating. Try to get it as streak-free as you can, but you will notice a little bit of streaking. Your paint is going to cover most of that. Gesso dries pretty quickly. It's an acrylic. It'll dry fast, so put that aside. Work on several other things at the same time. And as soon as it's dry enough to flip it over, simply flip it over, do the other side. I find that this process can be done in a matter of just a few minutes. Very simple. Okay, the gesso is now dry, so I've prepared my palette with some metallic paints, and I'm using the Martha Stewart Crafts paints. I like these metallics. They're a little bit translucent, so they're generally I usually will put 2 layers on for these, but they're beautiful and very pretty and pastel-y. This one here is called Jetstream Pearl. It's a very light blue. This one here is Sterling Metallic, so it's a silver. And then I have this very pretty citrine, it's called Citrine Gold Metallic, so it has the greenish cast to it, which I thought would be really nice for the holiday season. And my last one here is the Rose Chrome Metallic, which is a pinkish sort of color. So I thought this green, this citrine green right here, and this rose gold were a nice play on Christmas colors without being the in-your-face red and green. I also have a cup of water ready to go for cleaning and some paper towels. And for this painting, I'm going to be using an acrylic brush. It's an angled brush. It's one that I got from probably Michael's or Hobby Lobby. For the snowflakes, I'm putting 2 coats of the Martha Stewart metallic paints. Here you'll see me demonstrating with a 2nd coat of the silver metallic. I find that because the colors are light and a bit translucent, some of the background does show through, it's helpful to put a 2nd coat on, and I paint in 2 different directions to minimize the appearance of those brush strokes. So what you're seeing here is a 2nd coat of the silver. So coat it once, paint the edges, let it dry, coat the back, then when that's dry, flip it over and repeat the process. And you should have really nice coverage with these Martha Stewart metallic colors. Once your paints are dry on your snowflakes, the next step is just fun. I'm using nothing but glitter glue to create designs and patterns. This one is a silver painted snowflake, and on this one I also used some silver glitter glue, so it's silver on silver. This is a blue snowflake, also with silver. This is a blue snowflake, and on this one I used a different glitter glue. I used this iridescent glitter glue. Kind of reminds me of the sunlight sparkling on snow. And I also used some gold. And this last one that I have in the works is a silver painted snowflake with the iridescent color and some gold. And as these dry, I might add a little bit more to them. When they're completely dry, you can flip them over and decorate the back side the same way, or you can use them as large gift tags and do your to and from on the back with a marker. So these are a lot of fun and very easy to do. My glitter glue is not expensive. This is Kid Craft glitter glue. I bought it at AC Moore, I think, for either $2.99 or $3.99 for a 4-ounce bottle. It's just sold where they had the children's art supplies. I'm sure you can find something similar in house brands, just about any craft store that you go to. So for this one, I'm going to demonstrate on a silver snowflake. And you want to have a Q-tip handy and a toothpick, because these are handy tools if your glitter goes where you don't want it to go, since you're drawing with glitter. And for this one, it's a silver snowflake, and I'm going to use the silver glitter glue. Keep it with silver to silver. Shake your glue down. You might want to get it started over to the side a little bit, just so that you have a nice flow. Do it on scrap paper. I'm doing it on my tablecloth here. And all you're going to do is just use that as if you were painting or drawing. You want to keep the tip of the glue bottle just slightly above the surface so that the glue flows as you trace. And I'm just tracing along the outside of the shape of the snowflake. And if you get a mistake, like you see here, just take your Q-tip and swoop up a little bit of that glue. It may leave a little bit of sparkly residue, but that's really not a problem on something like this. And I'm just going to trace with my silver all the way around. If you have to lift up to turn your snowflake or the surface of whatever design you're doing, just lift straight up with your bottle of glitter glue, and it should lift up pretty well without leaving a sticky trail. Once you've done the outline, you can leave it with a simple outline, or you can take your glitter glue and add more details to the center, as you see here. What you're going to also see here is a little demonstration of a fix-up where my pattern changed course just a little bit, and that's where that Q-tip comes in mighty handy. So go ahead and finish up your snowflake. You'll find that if you've ever done any cake decorating with an icing tube, decorating these ornaments is a very similar process. Using this type of glitter glue is also a great way to do a project like this with young children. It's a whole lot less messy than that loose glitter and some regular glue. If you're doing the three-dimensional ornaments like the stars, prepare them the same way. Gesso, and then 2 layers of your metallic paints, and you'll be ready to go. Once all your paint's dry, you're ready to decide how you want to pattern and decorate your pieces. This one here, this star, I painted alternately. So I did the gesso. I did 1 layer of gesso on each side, and then I used the sterling metallic from the Martha Stewart paints to do every other half of a star point. And then on the other side, I had the other halves going on the other side. And then I did white acrylic paints to just add a better surface than just the gesso. And I was just using Liquitex Basics. They're very inexpensive. This one is titanium white. So they have a white base. And so they're painted in alternates. Then I also did some that I just painted in a single color. This is one of the Martha Stewart paints as well. It's a metallic red that's very pretty. And I painted the entire star with the red. To do different things on them, the ones that I have where I have the white paint, one of the things I'm doing is just adding these little patterns. You'll hear people refer to them as Zentangles. If you look up Zentangle On the internet, you can find all kinds of patterns and ideas for things that you can do. These were done with a micron pen, and it's a 005 micron pen. I also have a 05 and a 08. They come in different point thicknesses, so you can decide how thick you want yours to be. These are permanent ink. If you don't have microns handy, that's just a brand that I happen to use. You can also use Sharpie brand. Just make sure that they're the ultra fine point to get this effect. So on these, I'm just patterning on the white sections, and I'm leaving the silver or the lighter blue as is. Another way you can do this, on this one here, I'm using, you'll see these gold patterns, and for that I'm using a Sharpie brand gold paint pen. And the important thing here is that these are the oil-based paint. They're a little bit smelly, but they go on very smooth and they are permanent, and nothing will damage them if they get a little dab of water near them while you're watering your tree. And so that's done with the Sharpie gold. And they come in different colors. They just happens to be gold. Another thing that you can use on this one here, I'm doing a pattern, and although it looks pink, it's actually white. And this one is Craft Smart. I got this at Michael's. It's a multi-surface oil-based paint pen as well. And then the thing to look for when you are using a paint pen, you want the finest point that you can get. This one has a really nice fine tip, so it's really good for these smaller patterns. The paint pens, this one is considered a fine point, but the point is much thicker and heavier, so your designs and patterns will have to be a little bit smaller. So there you have it for stars. And you can also always, when you get the stars done and everything is dry, if you want to add a little bit of extra sparkle, one of my favorite sparkling products is this one right here. This is called Stickles. And Stickles are the Ranger brand. They're sold in craft supply stores. I get mine at Michael's. Usually Joann's carries them. Hobby Lobby probably does. I haven't looked. And I'm sure AC Moore probably has them too. They're usually found with the scrapbooking materials. And they have a really nice fine point for getting your glitter out. They're a little bit pricey, so if you want to save money, you're doing a lot of things. I found this glitter glue at AC Moore. It's an AC Moore brand, I think. And this glitter glue is just their own, it looks like a house brand. There's nothing fancy about it. It was very inexpensive. I think I paid $2.99 for this entire bottle of glitter glue. And I also have it in gold and this really, really pretty kind of a snowflake sort of color. So you can see the difference here. Let's see if I can get this lined up. There we go. These wider looking glitter splotches are the craft glitter glue right here. It's sold where the children's crafts are. And this is the finer line that you're going to get if you're using one of the Ranger brand, the Stickles. They're just a little pricier, but if you're not making very many, it's certainly not a big issue. So the stars. Here's a little list of the materials that I used in this video, but it isn't necessary for you to have exactly these brands and these colors in order to get equally lovely ornaments. See what's available in your craft store and just have fun with it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and get updates when new videos are posted. Meanwhile, happy holidays and happy crafting.